Hi everyone, welcome to Lunch Hour Lessons with Allison. I'm Allison Mädl and today is Wednesday, July 24th, 2019. And I'm here at the Hilton San Francisco Financial District to teach a workshop, Nutritional Therapy Association workshop this weekend. So I'm here and excited to talk about a topic that we often talk about at our workshop weekends, which is food allergies and autoimmune disease. Could it be leaky gut? Which is what the topic is for today's lunch hour lesson. By now, you may have heard the term leaky gut as kind of the common name for what we would call intestinal hyperpermeability. Now, it's okay if you haven't heard of either of those things, but that is what it's called. And if we think about it, we can break it down as to what that actually is. So today I want to talk about what is leaky gut or intestinal hyperpermeability, as well as what are the most likely causes and what the effects of that are on the body. But before we talk about leaky gut in particular, I want to talk about the small intestine, just so you know kind of what part of the body we're talking about here. Your small intestine is a tube that's located directly south of the stomach in the digestive cascade. And it has a lining of that tube that's only one cell thick. It's very thin for a reason, because the primary function of the small intestine is to absorb nutrients from the food that we eat and pass them through this one cell wall thick layer into the bloodstream. And in that way, it distinguishes between ourself, which is like our own bloodstream and our tissues and our body really, and non-self, which is everything coming in from the outside world, things that we eat, bacteria, viruses, anything that we would take in that would be in that tube. But it's supposed to be really selectively permeable. So not everything from the non-self world that comes in is supposed to just go right into the self world. That would be dangerous. So only the smallest molecules of broken down food are supposed to go through that layer. And those are glucose, fatty acids, and amino acids, which are really the smallest components of food. And normally the cells of this intestinal lining are, to allow those really small particles of food to go through, they kind of open up just a little bit. The cells open up a little bit, let that particle of food go through, and then they close up really fast. And if the condition is more of a leaky gut situation, so this is more what we're talking about today, the small intestine becomes what we call hyperpermeable, meaning that those tight junctions between the cells don't open up just a little bit, they open up a lot more, and they become kind of leaky. And that means that bigger molecules of food can pass through. So the fact that they're bigger means that these molecules haven't been digested down as fully. So whole proteins or fats can just be released right into the bloodstream. And when the immune system cells that are circulating in our bloodstream, and they're surveying everything that's in there and kind of making sure that they recognize everything that's in there, they go on high alert when they see a bigger food molecule, because they're not supposed to see those. They're only supposed to see the glucose, the fatty acids, and the amino acids coming through. So in short, intestinal hyperpermeability or leaky gut causes an elevated immune response to whatever particles leak through. So what are some of the causes of the small intestine becoming hyperpermeable in the first place? Basically anything that causes the lining of our small intestine to become irritated and inflamed can weaken that lining and cause it to become more leaky than it should. So processed foods, sugar, lack of good quality sleep, over-exercising is actually a big one that goes unnoticed. So we're talking about long periods of exercise, distance, running, things that can be kind of stressful for the body are also stressful for the gut. Environmental toxins, pesticides like glyphosate, which is under the brand name Roundup, and also emotional stress and grief can kind of do a number on our gut lining. So basically, like I said, anything that stresses the body can stress the small intestine and over time can cause it to malfunction. Now let's talk about the effects. What does that do to our body if it's leaky. Many people wonder about why the instances of things like food allergies and autoimmune disease are really on the rise in our society. And one strong theory is that it has to do with leaky gut. Here's how it would work. I just mentioned that in a leaky gut situation, the lining allows the larger molecules to escape through into the bloodstream, and the immune system sees the large molecules and mounts an immune response to them because they see them as non-self. They shouldn't be there. If, for example, the person is eating a particular food like eggs, which is a very common food allergy, under a leaky gut situation, then the immune system is constantly attacking that undigested particle of food that leaks through, leading to a egg allergy. And if you would eat that food, you now feel unwell because the immune system is reacting to it. So you get things like eczema or bloating, gas, itchiness, hives, even something as severe as like an anaphylactic reaction, which causes the throat to close up. That's the most severe type of allergy. So the immune system really lets us know, like, something's not right here. The food that you're eating is not appropriate for me at this time. And there's other issues. There's something called molecular mimicry, which is when certain proteins in foods are very similar looking to different proteins in our own body tissues. So, for example, the molecular protein of gliadin, which is a component of gluten, looks really a lot like our thyroid tissue. And so when we eat gluten, it can escape through the intestinal lining as a big molecule, and then the immune system mounts a response to it and actually starts attacking our own thyroid tissue for people who are susceptible to that. And that's what autoimmunity is. So autoimmune diseases are when the immune system starts attacking our own tissues. And I've noticed that many of my clients who have autoimmune disease see their symptoms improve, especially autoimmune thyroid disease, when they remove gluten from the diet. So there is good news, and I have protocols in my practice with my clients that I utilize to identify the presence of leaky gut in clients and help them heal and seal their intestinal lining. And it usually does involve sometimes blood tests. It can also involve removing certain foods that they're sensitive to, and then undergoing a therapeutic program of repair. And it's important also to manage stress, eat a non-inflammatory diet, and sleep well to make sure that that thin lining doesn't become hyperpermeable again. Our bodies are always repairing themselves, breaking down and getting better. So there's not really like we reach a state of health and then we're done. It's always constantly evolving, and that's life. And that is all the time we have for today. Feel free to tell a friend this week's lunch hour lesson, which is the small intestine is a sophisticated barrier between self and non-self. Again, the small intestine is a sophisticated barrier between self and non-self. Like my page to get the weekend tip that comes out on Saturday morning, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.